Hi, this is that Lviv girl with an update about strict quarantine in Ukraine. So what is happening in Ukraine now? Starting tomorrow, there will be strict restrictions about going outside, there will be fines, there will be patrols. What else will I tell you about in this video? I will tell you about how the government passed this law, and I will just tell you again how you can get medical care in case you're suspicious of coronavirus in Ukraine. So, as we speak right now, there are 1,251 confirmed cases of coronavirus in Ukraine and 25 recovered. Now, the biggest problem is that some significant portions of these infected people are medics themselves. So, the complaint that they have is that they do not have the proper medical protection to take care of coronavirus patients, so they get the virus themselves. This is a really stressful time for us. And if you want to know more about Ukrainian hospitals, there's a video above. So what's happening now? Starting tomorrow, you cannot be outside in Ukraine in a group of more than 2 people. You also have to have a legit reason to be outside. So you can be in a group more than 2 people if you are with children. You can be outside if you're walking the dog. Otherwise, you should not be outside. You should be quarantined at home. You should have your mask always on you, and you should have your passport, because the passport will be checked. The fine for not adhering to these new regulations will be 17,000 to 34,000 hryvnias, which is even bigger than average salary in Ukraine. So this is a huge fine. And one person in Lviv was yesterday charged with this because he was just hanging outside in a high castle. He said he's going home, and half an hour later police saw him again walking around, so he was fined. So at this point you should not be in parks, squares, resting areas, sport grounds, playgrounds. You should not be fined there. These are closed. Why government is making such strict decisions is because it's suspected that Ukrainians do not take this quarantine seriously, and people were not wearing masks, and so government is becoming more strict. What's happening now also is that government is closing also a few more border checks. I will provide the map, live map down in the description of this video, and you will see which border checks are still open. Also, foreigners or Ukrainians coming into Ukraine now should get a strict 14-day lockdown in a government-designated facility. If you do not like that facility, you can pay more and you will choose upgraded option. Also, exception for 14-day quarantine after entering Ukrainian, after crossing the checkpoint, is that diplomats, airlines, crew and truck drivers will not have to do this 14-day lockdown. So according to international media, the government itself did not adhere to restrictions that is imposing on the public. For example, during extraordinary parliamentary session, MPs showed up, they flew from high-risk countries. They did not do the 14-day lockdown. They went straight to the parliament to vote, so they did not adhere to their own rules. What happens if you have coronavirus symptoms in Ukraine? What should you do? Well, for light symptoms, most likely you're expected to stay at home. Infectious hospital will not accept you, will not even test you for coronavirus unless you have high temperature, more than 38 degrees Celsius, you have been coughing for more than 10 days, it's hard for you to breathe. In this case, you will be accepted to infectious hospital. But family doctor does screening, and the screening is not screening for Covid-19 is not performed. This information, I'm not making this up, I got this from speaking to private hospitals. And also one person told me that polyclinics are being closed now, so you're waiting outside for your turn to see the doctor. So you're outside, so you're lucky if the weather is nice. So what about private medical institutions in Lviv? Can you get care for Covid-19 at a private clinic? Now, the law has been passed that private facilities are now given license to care for patients with virus. to give patients daily support. I want to remind you that in Lviv there are no private hospitals, there are no inpatient units. So for just primary, secondary care, you have few options, but I just called them just now before making this video, and they do not have tests for COVID-19 and they will not accept patients to treat them with COVID-19. One private medical clinic, they will escort a patient as he's treated in a government facility, will help assist with purchasing, with coordinating care, but they will not take the responsibility of caring for the patient. So what's the problem with hospital facilities? You can see the video up in this corner. Basically, the funding was mismanaged, the hospitals were mismanaged, and maybe in large cities the hospitals, infectious hospitals, are okay, but in small regional cities the hospitals are not in the best conditions, and there are videos posted online about mold there, about patients not having even a sink, even medical professionals not having opportunity to take a shower, and their medical gown, protective gown, single use, they have to reuse it, so they run the risk of infecting their family when they come home because they do not have proper protection at work. So this is a very stressful for us, stressful situation. Maybe that's why the government is becoming strict just to prevent the spread of this virus. To end with good news, Ukraine is sending a team of 20 medical staff to Italy to support with crisis. 3 of those people are from Lviv, so they will be there for 2 weeks. They are getting paid salary by Ukraine, and they will be back more experienced and more capable of handling the crisis situations with coronavirus. Also, another good news is that Lviv IT cluster initiated and purchased virus express testing kits, 100,000 kits, to test. Most likely it will be people who work at grocery stores and people who are at risk, maybe like bus drivers. So they will use medical mobile teams to do this testing. Also in the news, I get information that there are medical mobile teams going around the city and testing people. I did not see it, I did not hear it. Maybe you heard about it. So please write it in the comments below, and please share your experience with living in Ukraine while it's being locked down. Have you been stopped by the police? Do you wear a mask when you go outside? Do you go outside? Do you go to walk out in a park? What can you tell us? So now all we have left to do is just to be on a quarantine and obediently. There are some institutions that are still open to maintain the life of the city and of the country, but we are trying to stay at home to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in Ukraine. Please like this video, please share it with your friends, and I will see you soon.